Yeah, so we're back after God knows when, but yeah, finally we're back. And we're going to talk about Tottenham today. My football club, the club I support. We've been making some serious moves in the window, so I thought of come here and talk about it, give my opinions about it, because over the last few weeks, maybe a month, fans of our club especially, we are really excited what our team is doing in the transfer market in terms of spending, and rival fans have been very angry and justifying the fact that how Tottenham able to spend God knows after finishing 17th back to back. And I just thought of making a video giving my thoughts about it. And yeah, I mean, Spurs have been one of the most active clubs in this transfer window in terms of buying and selling. We've done a lot of business, which is not so usual of Spurs. It's very unusual of Spurs because most of the time we kind of keep it till the end, see if the clubs, kind of crack under pressure, and we always do our business towards that end. We never ever do serious business in the first half of the window, and the window is just officially started. All the business has been done when the window has been officially closed. Because if you can see our transfers, we're done. Robertson from Liverpool, free transfer. Senesi and Dubravka. All three players are free signings, but Robertson, all very quality players. I mean, Senesi has been one of Bournemouth's best player. Andy Robertson has been, yes, he's been dropped. I mean, quality-wise, he's been dropping off, but he's been one of Liverpool's best. Not last season, but over last 5 years or maybe a few years. And Dubravka is just coming in to be a second fiddle to Kingsley. And the players that we paid for, Van Hecke from Brighton, like a 50 million for a player with 1 year left in his contract, seems a bit, kind of towards the expensive end, but still, I think that he had a great World Cup. I think if he had to be sold after this World Cup, I think it would have been, he would have gone way above 50 million because I think he's been Netherlands' one of best centre backs in this World Cup. Then we signed Matheus Fernandes and Sandro Tonali on the point of recording. Yes, it's been officially confirmed by Tottenham that we signed Sandro Tonali. So again, more than the players, I think these two, the fees has been talked a lot because we paid 85 million for Fernandes and another 100 odd million for Tonali. And do they justify their prices? Not really. I think Matheus Fernandes at best is 70 million. And Tonali has been one of the best in the league on midfielders. So in the current market where someone like an Elliot Anderson has been going for 100 million, back in the day, Grealish went for another 100 million. Then United has spent a lot on players. I think Anthony was bought for 80 million. So in this current market where yes, inflation has affected us, where players with immense quality go for high prices. Is 85 million a lot of money? Yeah. Is it a lot of money for a talent like Matheus Fernandes? I don't think so. I think the price is a bit overpay, but not that much in terms of we say okay fine. I don't think he deserves that kind of transfer fees. I think Matheus Fernandes, yes, he's been relegated back to back years with Southampton and West Ham, but as a player, he's been one of West Ham's best players. And if you put Matheus Fernandes in Tottenham's midfield, I think he fixes a lot of issues as well. So paying 85 million for a good quality midfielder in today's market, I don't think it's a lot. Sandro Tonali, I think he justifies his 100 million. I think he's been again one of Newcastle's best midfielders and one of the best midfielders in the Premier League over the last year or two. So yeah, and talking about the inflation bit, there is a lot of scarcity of talent in the Premier League. It's not like all your top sixes have the best in the world. I think every part of the pitch can be replaced by someone else from another team. Let's take Arsenal's attack for example. I don't think they're the best in the world. I don't think Gyökeres have justified his transfer fees. I don't think Saka, even though Arsenal fans keep saying he's the best right winger in the world, I don't think he's been that great last year. Then you have Madueke in the left, who isn't one of the best left wingers in the Premier League. So so there's a lot of scarcity of talent. As I said, you can always replace a certain player from a certain position from another club, and good talented players have a lot of money, need a lot of money to get in, because clubs won't sell for cheap. There's a very few instances where clubs sell for cheap, like someone like, I think Donnarumma's gone for cheap. I think Haaland, looking at his impact at City, I think his transfer fees seems like a bargain. So it's not often you find players, good quality players, come for cheap prices, unless and until they come for free. That's another thing. But from to be transferred from one club to another, I don't think it's all that necessary. They have to come for cheap all the time. And the financial fair play part of it, I think this is what something fans don't realize, right? Just because we paid 100 million, and 100 million doesn't necessarily come into the this year's spend. Transfer fees are spread across a period of time, across the length of the contract that's given to the player. So if someone like a Sandro Tonali, who's for 100 million, comes in a 6-year deal, I'll give you the calculation just in a minute. It's 16 million over 6 years, which doesn't affect financially that hard as it should. Even though from the outside we look, it's a £100 million signing. How are Tottenham able to spend this much money after finishing back-to-back 17 places in 2 years? It's not necessarily the case. I think that's the same justification I think Chelsea fans used to give back when Todd Bowley just took over the club, where they splashed a lot of money on a lot of players. But their justification was, yes, it's a lot of money on a lot of players, but they've given them 10 years, 9 years, 8 years of contracts. So all that money is divided into 8 years. So it doesn't, even though it seems a lot, it's not all that much if you deep down look into the mathematics of it. So yeah, I think again, another thing I want to say is that even though we finished 17th 2 years in a row, we won the Europa League last year. I mean, 2 years ago. A year ago. Sorry, my bad. We won the Europa League, and that qualified us in the Champions League. That means a lot of money. Every team in the Champions League, earns a lot of money from TV rights, from wins. Each time you win, you get a certain amount. So, yeah, we finished 17th in a row, but we've been making a lot of money, and this is just from the first team side of things. I think if you look at the stadium, we host a lot of events, sporting events, NFL, and concerts. People make fun of us when we hosted Travis Scott, Beyonce, God knows who all. I think last name I can remember who came to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for performing is Arjit Singh. I think a lot of big names have come into the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for performing as well. So we kind of generate a lot of money. Apart from the football side, we make a lot of money. From the stadium side. That's not something I don't think Newcastle hosts a lot of events. I don't think Aston Villa hosts a lot of events. Prove me if I'm wrong, but a lot of money is pumped in regardless of how good or bad we are, and it can I've done my research, and you can look at the revenue. Spurs have made, this is the financial year of 21-22, 442 million, whereas someone like a Newcastle, just a minute, Newcastle has been 180 million revenue generated in the financial year of 21-22, and Villa has been generating 178. And in the financial year, this is 2 years after that, 23-24, he made 528 million, whereas someone like Newcastle is been making 320 million. Villa is making 275 million. So there is a big difference of revenue that comes in terms of coming at us for I think financial fair play have to look at Tottenham. They have to find them and all that. I think we make a lot of money, and again, if you look at our wage structure, we make a lot of money, and we're just 6th in the league for giving wages, whereas Newcastle is in 8th. with, as I said, with the money that they make per year, and if you calculate the ratios, I mean, it's a bit, I don't think they spent more than they make. That's my point. Even Villa as well, towards an extent. They're 7th in the Premier League for wages, and we're 6th in the Premier League. That's like, if you compare all the top 6 sides, we're like dead last in something once it comes to giving wages. And if you look at our highest earned players, it's Simmons with 10 million, Romero with 10 million, Madison with 8, Paulinho with 8, who is a loan signing, so he doesn't count, and Gallagher with 7. And another thing is that Romero is going to probably leave this season. That's another 10 million off the wage bill. Paulinho has already left the club, so that's another 8 million off the wage bill. Then we have other players who are probably earning less than 7.8 million per year. So we don't give a lot of money. Like, if you have to compare with someone like Man United, they give Casemiro 18 million, and I don't know how long Casemiro stay. I think for 2 years, 3 years. Then you have your second highest earner with Bruno with 15.6 million. Then you have Mount with 10 million. Mount is pretty much earning as much as Simmons, and Simmons is our highest paid player. So we don't give a lot of wages. And if you look at our transfers as well, I think keeping Sandro Tonali and Matheus Fernandes, I think our highest paid player is probably Solanke for 60 million, and Ndombele for 60 million, and Kudus for some 60-50 million. So we don't pay a lot in terms of transfer fees as well. So we make a lot and we don't spend a lot. And when we finally decided to spend, people are getting offended. I really don't understand. And another thing I have to say is, this is, we don't spend a lot. I think, fans need to chill out. I think it's not that deep. That's all I have to say. It's not that deep. I think every club in the top 6 spends a lot of money. I think if you look at Arsenal, they spend a lot of money. They spend 100 million on Rice. I think a 60-70 million for Havertz, and another 60-70 million for Gyökeres. Compare those signings to our highest paid players. We paid like 60 million, and as I said, the 60 million is spread across the duration of the contract. On top of that, even though it's a 60 million, there are obviously add-ons which maybe get fulfilled, maybe not. I don't know what the add-ons are. Typically, maybe a league finish, Champions League appearances, league appearances. So even though it's 100 million, I'm pretty sure another like minimum 10 million is coming on add-ons, or maybe depending on the fee. If it's a 60 million pound player, maybe 5 to 10 million might come into add-ons, and some add-ons might not even be fulfilled. So it's not that deep. And I'm recording this when I think last night Fabrizio Romano has given an official here we go for Radu Dragusin, who is gone for 25 million. I think we sold Luka Viskovic, who hasn't even played in the Premier League, for 50 million, and we sold Release for another 7 million, 8 million. So that's pretty much 80 million, 82 million already recouped in term with sales. And there are a lot of players that left to go. If you look at a squad, I think a definite leave might be Cuti Romero. I think someone like a Richarlison would probably leave. And judging by our trend of selling players, I think we've been selling our top scorers 3 years in a row. I think it started from Son to Brennan Johnson, and if we have to follow that trend, I think Richarlison will probably leave at some point, maybe in June, maybe at July or January. I think we have Solomon, who is probably going to leave. Don't know how he's going to leave in terms of if it's going to be a loan signing or if it's going to be a permanent transfer, but he is going to leave. Then we have Pape Matar, who might leave, and there are like murmurings from fans on Twitter that selling Gallagher might do a lot of good than bad, because he doesn't really do a lot in terms of his kind of impact on the pitch. Then you have Lucas Bergwall, who has come out officially in terms of Romano has reported it, David Ornstein has reported it, he would like to move on from the football club because of the lack of game time. And all these players, I'm pretty sure we can get another minimum 30-40 million for Lucas Bergwall. We can get maybe a 10-20 million for Pape Matar. 100% we can get another like 10, around 20-30 million for Richarlison as well. So that's pretty much another 60 million if these things go according to plan. As we speak, there's an 80 million has been made in terms of sale, and the window is just opened. It's 6th of July while I'm recording this, so we still have till August. I'm pretty sure the first week of August until the window officially closes. And if you look at the defense, there's not a lot of sales in terms of defense. I'm sorry. Yeah, Kota Takai, I think, I don't know, maybe leave or maybe stay. And then we have Ashley Phillips, who's been loaned out for the last few years. I mean, pretty much. Oh yeah, then I forgot. Vicario will probably leave, and there is like concrete interest from Italy, like sides like Juventus and Inter. So, even though we're spending a lot, we might make a lot in terms of sales. And Tottenham hasn't been a great selling club. We've been horrible in sales. We've been, I think the best mockery that has been made recently is the Lo Celso deal, if I'm not wrong. I think we had a deal, I think Romano reported it. We had a deal to sign Johnny Cardosa from, now he plays for Atletico Madrid, but when we sold Lo Celso to Betis, I think we had some kind of percentage of his rights or some kind of a fee that we can activate in the next window. And we've been an absolute joke club once it comes to selling players. So to sell players, that hasn't even been good for us. Someone like Dragusin hasn't been that great for us for 20 million, and especially when we bought him for 30 million, that's a lot. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I think it's not that deep. Everyone spends a lot of money on players, and we are in a kind of an era in the Premier League where in order to get the best, you have to pay a lot, and in order to kind of be the best in the league, we have to get the best players. So it's not that deep. I hope you guys understand, and I hope you like this video. If you like, share, do your thing. Yeah, so until next time.